Hey everybody, welcome back to Choice Hacking. I'm Jen Clinehens, the founder and managing director of Choice Hacking. We are a customer engagement agency that uses behavioral science and predictive AI to create more meaningful relationships with customers. And today we are doing another email psychology breakdown from a brand that is new to me called SuperMajor. And SuperMajor Snacks, I believe, is the parent brand. They make, in this case, some no sugar added dairy-free oat milk chocolate. Sounds interesting. I will try it. But there are a few things that jumped out at me about this email, and I'd really like to explore it a little bit more, some things that are working, some things that are not, and the psychology behind why. Now, this is all the stuff that we're going to cover in this particular video, so if you want to pause the video and take a screenshot, go ahead and do that. And if not, we will move on to the very first thing I want to talk about with this email. So normally you would see me starting with the subject line of an email and talking about that first. However, I wanted to say some positive things before I went down a little bit of a negative path, because I do have some things that I think should really change about this email and this email template. But for now, let's talk about some nice things that they did. So first of all, this image that you've got up here with the two hands and the chocolate, it's actually really nice. It's a nice like product hero image. If it were me, I would maybe zoom in a little bit more so I can see a little bit more of the product detail. But it's a good use of something called haptic imagery. I would suggest maybe even going a step further with the haptic imagery and having maybe like a bite taken out of each piece of chocolate just to see, how people have sort of interacted with the product and potentially like the enjoyment that they might be getting out of the product, rather than just kind of the hands and what is a little bit of a sterile maybe product photography here. It's not really been interacted with, but I think they could, maybe build on this and do some really interesting things. If you've not heard of haptic imagery, basically it is an image, as I've said here, that encourages the mental visualization of touch. We're more likely to buy something if we can see people interacting with a product. So I've talked about this before on the Choice Hacking blog, but this is why with Apple's marketing, you've kind of seen them do a little bit of an evolution. Whereas at first, it was very product centric. It was like desktop spinning on a white background in a laboratory someplace, very much about the beauty of the product. As they've grown as a company, you actually start to see people interacting with the products a lot more. So iPads, people are scrolling with things, phones, people are using them or talking with them. So they're using haptic imagery a lot more. I think because it's probably something that they found is that people just respond to images of other people using and touching products. Great, so now let's talk about the subject line. So it says, welcome to the SuperMajor Snack family. And because I got this email as an example from Really Good Emails, I didn't go through the process of actually signing up for this email newsletter. However, I did visit the SuperMajor website, and it looks like from the pop-up that you're actually giving your email address in exchange for, you can see there's a $4 off code here down at the bottom. So it is a welcome email. It looks like it's trying to encourage trial of the products. But the subject line here, welcome to the SuperMajor Snack family, to me, this is not really working. And this is why. Nobody really cares about your brand. This is almost like, signing up to get 20% off of like soap, Dove soap, and then getting an email that says, welcome to Unilever. Like, I don't care. I don't know that Dove is owned by Unilever. Even if I did, really wouldn't want to get an email from Unilever welcoming me to the Unilever family of brands, right? People don't really care about that. So they don't care about your brand. They care about what your brand can do for them. A better subject line would be something that communicates the product benefits or the point of difference or even just the purpose of the email. So I'm not a copywriter, but I kind of put together this messaging that says something along the lines of better chocolate, better for you, Jen. You put in some nice little personalization there and a free gift card. They did a subject line more focused on benefits and that talked about the free gift card, that they'd be much more likely to get people opening this email versus something that says, welcome to the SuperMajor Snack family, which is a little sterile and doesn't really, I think, do the job that this subject line really needs to do for this email. I'm going to move on to what I consider a little bit of like the elephant in the room, which is the color palette of this email. My personal taste is I really don't like this. So it could be that, this is working really, really well for them because it's very different than other like sugar-free oat milk chocolate or even like organic chocolate, things like that, because it is very different. It is very eye-catching. Now I would say, looking at this packaging that these people are holding in their hands in the email, if I saw that on a shelf, I would definitely be attracted to it. I would definitely, have some attention drawn in that direction. So it could be working really well on the shelf, but they've translated it, in my opinion, too literally to the design of this email. I get that it's on brand and it looks a lot like their website, but there are a few things that bother me about this color palette. First, it is incredibly difficult to read. The fact that they've got this really kind of thin, low-weight white font with that orange background, it's really difficult to pick up and read. Like, I wear contacts, but obviously I'm, don't have real vision issues, but I can imagine if somebody did, it would be almost impossible to read that. There is a lack of contrast, not between the red and the orange, but between the white and the orange. It might be actually size of the font is also playing into this, so it's really difficult to read. While I like them on the packaging, and I think they're probably doing a really good job on the shelf, I question how that color scheme is kind of translating to a digital environment, and if they would be better off just, for example, having like white backgrounds and black backgrounds, and then using the orange and the yellow as more of a splash of brand color here and there. The psychological principle here, the behavioral science principle, is salience. So the idea, like, how easy is it to notice and find what you need? The answer to that, I would say, is probably not very easy at all. But I have done actually some salience analysis on this using a predictive AI. The one that I use with my clients that is also used with clients like LVMH, Coca-Cola, Johnson & Johnson. So it's a really robust tool. And at the very end of this video, I'm going to walk you through a little bit of salience analysis on this email. Okay, great. So now we're going to talk about what seems to be the purpose of this email, which is the offer, the $4 off offer. I would say it's the purpose of the email because it looks like when you go to the website to sign up for this, that's the offer that they're leading with. It's like, hey, get a $4 gift card so you can try our product. Just give us your email address, and then you're probably getting this email right after that, or some version of this email. The thing I would say is, even with that little yellow box around it, it is hard to spot. It's hard to engage with the offer code because of the design of the email. And also, you can't really tell from the way that I've kind of put these on the slide, but if I get this email in my inbox, I'm going to have to scroll down pretty far to actually see the reason why I got this email or gave them my email address in the first place. Not always a great experience. It might actually be working a lot harder for them if they could get it closer up to where that product hero image is, and potentially use a little bit less space for the product, and hero image there at the top, so that people kind of get the payoff immediately and it starts to build trust. And then you're getting them closer to their goal faster. And their goal isn't to get this like email, even if it's the most beautiful email in the world. Their goal is to get the gift card so they can try your product and then hopefully become customers. So I also say this is, some form of salience here. So how easy is it to notice and find what you need, as we said in the earlier slide. So you might have forgotten there's a bottom to this email, but here it is. So this actually says, if you can't see it, 5 stars, and then there's 5 teeny tiny stars. If you're a chocolate lover, you owe this to yourself. The chocolate is smooth, rich, flavorful, just without the milk, says Ray M., a verified customer. Now, I think it's nice to include some social proof here because you have to imagine, again, the purpose of the email is, hey, do you want $4 off so you can try our product? And people might need a little bit of a nudge to actually say, like, okay, yeah, I want the $4 off, but is this going to be kind of a risk? Because I still need to spend whatever it is, $5 or $8 or, whatever the shipping and handling is as well for this product. So it's a little bit of a risk. And I think the social proof does help kind of mitigate that because it is a new brand that a lot of people haven't heard of. So it's good to have the social proof in there. But you might be predicting what I'm about to say. The design could be improved. So increasing the salience of the stars, first of all. So there's their teeny tiny little stars. You can barely see them. I thought they were asterisks at first, like little asterisks across the thing. Those need to be bigger because when people see stars, star ratings, it attracts their attention because they understand that as a form of social proof. So that needs to be bigger, and certainly bigger than just the words 5 stars. They also include an image of the customer if possible. If they have any images of customers trying the product and then giving them some kind of quote, that would be ideal, rather than just having the text down here, which, does a job, but maybe doesn't work as hard as it could. Now, while this is a good quote, try to find a quote that is more emotional and evocative. So, how did this product make your customer feel? For example, and I've just made this up, SuperMajor is smooth, rich, and flavorful, and it feels amazing to enjoy high-quality chocolate again, even if I can't do dairy. I can imagine all of these people do share this idea that for whatever reason, they don't want dairy and they don't want sugar in their chocolate. And up until now, it's been really hard to find a decent quality chocolate that also meets their dietary needs. So how does it feel when you find that chocolate? Finally, after all these years of searching and being unsatisfied and, trying to kind of, satisfy this craving, thank you, with something that also meets your dietary needs. I would imagine it feels really good. And so get a quote from somebody that tells people how good that makes them feel. And that also gives you a little bit of insight into the quality of the product and what the product experience is like. As you can see, I've done a little bit of salience analysis using my predictive AI tool. As I said, I mean, this is used by brands like Coca-Cola, LVMH, Johnson & Johnson. I mean, just to name a few, there's a million other ones, and choice hacking for my clients. I found it really, really helpful, and I've used it with clients like McDonald's and Adidas. It gives us some really good information that we wouldn't necessarily be able to glean without putting it through a predictive AI tool like this. And basically all you need to know is that red is good and like blue, green, yellow, those are things that are missed. So we want little points of red on this email to say like, oh, people are paying attention to this. Normally, if I was testing this for a client or for my own work, I would be separating it out into the amount of email that people would see at one time. Okay, I wouldn't put the entire email necessarily through something like this until I had taken sort of the hunks in the normal screen sizes of how much of each email they were going to see at any given time. So obviously when you're looking at the entire email, it's going to be a slightly different result than if you're just looking at a piece at a time. However, the broad strokes I feel like are similar enough and easier for us to kind of go through in a video. But obviously, if I was doing this for a client or if you decided to work with choice hacking, we would go through this in a slightly different and more contextual way. So how customers would actually experience it. You can see not a lot is being noticed in this email. If you look over here, I've put the grid over top of it, and the little orange and red spots are the good spots. So where this person is touching the chocolate bar, good. 193, very good. And in fact, this is a nice one too, because as we talked about, the haptic imagery then is going to do a double job because you've got the salience job working because obviously people are noticing this, both of them working together. So good. All right. So the hero image is doing a little bit of a job. We're missing the logo. We're missing all of this navigation up here. So why even have it? Just maybe keep the logo, but kick out the navigation on the very top of this. And then all of this body copy and very interestingly, the promotion code is gone. As I said before, my instinct was kind of, this is probably not going to be very salient. And it turns out that it was right. You should never go on instinct, always test things. But I've been using this platform and this product for a long time. And so I think I may have trained a little bit of my instincts to kind of know what's going to work and what's not. But I always test. I always test it. The little box, totally gone. The call to action, shop now. Okay, where? I don't see it. And the only thing I'm kind of picking up here is the dairy-free and vegan icon that you can see here in the middle. You can see here it's picked up a lot of attention here as well. It's got a 99 and a 99. And then this one over here has got a 91. So really the icons are doing a good job. This is obviously an important part of their product story. So I would definitely move it up a little bit. Maybe we, get this to be a little bit smaller. We pull up some of these product features here. And then maybe right underneath, we have something that is a higher contrast, higher size bit with the offer code. And then maybe we put some, text underneath it just so we can kind of get people's attention where we want it to be. We've also got, these are areas of attention. So pretty obviously at this very top, the product image is doing a good job. It's working really hard. So this is actually working for them. But again, I think it's taking up too much space. It's too far away. So I'd probably reduce the size of it just so we can spend some other time and attention in other places where we need them to look, as in trying the product. And here they're kind of, taking this all in as one thing, which you can tell isn't a good thing because it's actually isn't one message, it's three. You've got all of this copy that's like welcoming them. You've got the promo code and the call to action that you want them to actually do something about, but that's getting lost in this whole, situation here. And then you've got these icons, which are kind of doing an interesting thing here. They do seem to be standing out really well. They are doing a job. So I would be probably using them a little bit more strategically as we talked about earlier. And then you've got a little bit on the social proof, but if you look down here in terms of what's actually grabbing people's attention, the social proof bit is not really doing a job. And when things are not doing a salience job, I tend to recommend that they just get kicked out. But that is some salience analysis. That is some areas of attention analysis here. And again, this is a tool that I use with my clients. So if you found this interesting and you would like me to do something like this for you, I have my 45-minute CX audits that you can find the link down in the description and learn more about, or I can even do a standalone project for you. I'm happy to do a free 30-minute consultation to see if we're a good match. And I feel like I can help evolve your email marketing using behavioral science and predictive AI, I would love to do that. Check out the link in the description below. And if you're like, that's not for me, I'm not really interested, but I want to learn more about behavioral science and predictive AI, you can join my free newsletter called the Choice Hacking Newsletter. We have about 8,000 members from companies like Google, Coke, and Disney, and also a bunch of people from small startups all the way up to SMBs and the Fortune 500. So check it out. I share case studies every single week. I share videos like this, and I basically help you get better at using behavioral science and predictive AI to improve your marketing. I'll see you next time.